Today I'm going to show you a really quick, really easy tutorial on how to seal your mason jars when you're canning. I'm going to show you how to do a hot water bath, and I do a lot of canning videos, and I know I've showed this before in process in other videos, but every time I can something new I always say, refer back to such and such video or when I was canning pickles, and go to the end and watch it. So to make it really easy on you, I'm going to do one quick little video specifically on how to do a hot water bath. So anytime you watch any of my other canning videos and you want to know how to seal your jars safely, you can revert back to this quick tutorial. So this is very, very easy, and I'm going to show you, and it doesn't take very long to do it all. Once your jars are canned, whatever you have, you've done your canning already. Canning my pears right now. But you're going to take a pot, any pot, as long as you can cover the surface of your jars with water. Now these are jars that have already been filled with whatever you're canning and closed as tightly as you can. You want to put it on heat, a medium to low medium heat. You don't want it so hot that it cracks your jars. Now the process that's taking place here is very simple. You put it in there and you cover it just a little bit, not so much to where the water pressure is going to cause water to seep in, but maybe an inch above the surface of your lid. Now, as the water heats up, it'll come to a boil. When it comes to a light boil, or right before a light boil, the contents of your jars will begin to expand and it will force air out. When that happens, I will show you, you'll see little tiny bubbles start to rise from the seams of your jars. Now when that happens, after a little bit, when you start to see not so many bubbles, go ahead and take them out. When they cool, it's going to create a suction that's going to seal your jars tight, and they'll be good until you open them. And this is about the perfect, it's not quite boiling, but just about. And you'll begin to see some bubbles coming from the tops of the jars. Beginning to see some slightly larger bubbles. At this point I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit because I know the jars are warming, so they're okay. And I'm going to give them a few more minutes, 2 or 3 more minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and pull them out the water. This is actually made for grabbing jars, so if you want to go and pick one of these up, they're very cheap, $1 or $2, something like that, and it really makes it a lot safer getting these jars out of this hot water. I can drain that excess water off, set them on the side. Turn that heat off of that. Because even though I'm going to do a different sized jar, I'm going to start back with cold water because I don't want to crack these jars by putting them into that super hot water. So I'm going to start with my water a little bit cooler and then warm back up. Now I'm going to let these cool off and check them, but the way that you check to see if a jar has sealed, this jar I haven't done yet, so I can show you. This jar is not properly sealed. We haven't hot water bathed it yet, but when you press the top, you hear that? That's the sound of the top of the lid going up and down and the water and the air moving underneath it. That is not sealed. If your jar does that, little pop, not sealed. These are too hot to touch, and I want them to cool before I test them, but I'll show you one that's already done. This would be one that I did a few days ago, and I can push on it all I want. It doesn't pop, it doesn't move, it doesn't budge, it doesn't come up. So no matter what I do, that's not making any noise and any movement. So this jar is properly sealed. It is airtight. Basically what happens, it's very simple. When the content of this jar is heated up in that boiling pot, it's going to expand. Because when things heat up, they expand, and when they cool, they contract. So it expands and it pushes air out. That's the bubbles you see coming up. You take it out and you let it cool. As it cools, it contracts, and so it starts to pull. And if this thing is airtight, it can't pull any air in, so it sucks it down, and that gives you your vacuum seal. So this is basically how you vacuum seal without a vacuum sealer. Just water and heat. Very simple, very effective, has worked for thousands of years, You can use this method anytime. This always works. Now, if you have a jar that you find after you've done it and you're doing that and you hear it didn't seal properly, your most likely culprit is your lid. There is a wax seal around these lids, and you can use them a few times, but eventually that's going to wear out and it will get to where sometimes they will not seal. So always check and make sure that they did seal. Could be a faulty lid, it could be warped, something to that effect. So if it didn't seal, get it off, wash it, put a different lid, do it again, or put it in the refrigerator and use it. Don't let it sit on the shelf unless you know that it's got a good seal on it.